Morning, hello. I've been wanting to do these videos for a while, and maybe it's my own holdup that's got me, I guess, holding up, right? And I said to myself, well, what kind of videos do I want to do? I like gaming, I like music, I like a lot of the debate discussions that happen that you come across on YouTube, but I want to be part of the bigger conversation. I don't want to just game, I don't want to just make videos for people to sit back and just, I don't know, enjoy someone else's gameplay. I want to be part of the big discussion. And politics has become the big discussion. Politics has become the most important discussion. One thing I will say is everything you're getting from me is raw. I don't have any editing equipment or editing software. If there's any good ones that someone might recommend, I will look into it and see how it works. But other than that, you're just gonna get raw um, conversation, raw commentary from me. No reactions, just no cuts. All the mistakes, all the hiccups, all the slurs and speech mess ups, the candid. Um, I think raw and real is important. Not putting on a good show, and with that, I'm also keeping my face out of it. Not because I'm afraid nor want to hide who I am, but who I am, what I look like isn't important in the great discussion. So, I would say how I got into politics started with 9/11. I was 12 years old. Um, we were in sixth grade when it happened. We were in the middle of math class, and we were pulled out of math class, all of us, to be told that the World Trade Center had been struck and the Pentagon had been struck. And by the time we went back to our homeroom class, we were able to see the towers from our classroom window. Because where I went to school, it was maybe 20 minutes away from Manhattan, 10 minutes by train, right? So Manhattan is pretty much our backyard. We look out and we see it right there. And when 9/11 happened, um, you could see immediately how ripples affect people. It's been said by my mother, by her friends, by other teachers and students that there was ripples to 9/11. That the epicenter of it was the greatest part of it. But as those ripples went, trailed off, people were affected differently, and it was in that moment where we immediately noticed a different world. In retrospect, I could say I noticed the differences in those ripples. My classroom, able to see the towers go down, had a very different overall demeanor once we were pulled out of our classroom and brought to another room which wasn't facing the east but was facing the west. And in that classroom, it was another class, and they were still excited about what was happening. Not excited in a bad way, not that they were happy that it happened, but excitable. Something big is happening. They want to know what's going on, and we were the ones that witnessed it. And they were trying to get answers out of us. They couldn't because we were all still in shock. We couldn't believe what we seen. Like, now, it was our history teacher who I don't know if he did this to be a sort of give us counsel, let us get out what was on our minds, what we were feeling since then. But every Friday or so, he would give us the open floor for political discussion and political debate. And we would talk about things, world history, American history, all those things. And I got used to political debates from that point forward. Now, I will say, and this is probably the mess up, is that because George Bush was Republican, and that happened under the Republican administration, it became easy for the media to paint the Republicans as the bad guys and make them seem as though they were the evil ones, the wrongdoers, they don't know what they're doing, they're clowns in the office, and we need a Democrat. And because we were still feeling like we were wrongs, and it seemed we were young, blaming the Republicans just fell in line, right? It just made sense. Um, where I changed was when Trump originally started running back in 2016, and what changed me wasn't what so much what Trump was saying. is what others were saying about Trump. See, when 2016 rolled around, I didn't necessarily think that Trump was going to be the okay guy. I think I felt more along the lines of people who they seen him as this real estate guy, they seen him as this personality, and figured why doesn't he just stay in his lane, right? But then he started talking about certain policies that he was looking into, and to be fair, they weren't policies that weren't unheard of. They were things that people have been asking for at least 25, 30 years from what I can recall. um, you know, better border defense, border security, not letting illegals through, bringing jobs back from overseas. There were a lot of people who lost their jobs because their companies decided to outsource to India, to China, to Asia, to other countries. Um, a lot of his policies seem to be very much what the American people were asking for years. So it just makes sense that either he will win or that he will go with those things, right? Because if he wants to get the vote, he's going to ask for the things that people want to hear from. But what was where I changed was where how everyone else changed. How I say this, because he asked for those very things, suddenly they were bad things. Before Trump had asked for wanted jobs to come back from overseas, before Trump decided to continue the border wall, before he decided that he wanted to, reinvigorate America, these were all good things. These were all things that people wanted. People want to bring jobs back. People want there to be a booming industry in this country. People wanted to have better border security. But suddenly, because Trump is saying it, it's now a bad thing. Now, no, we're okay with Chinese slave labor, and we're okay with losing jobs, and we're okay with people coming across the border illegally. We're okay with all these things just because he was the one that said that we should stop these things. And that's where I start to realize that there's lies, there's this mistruths, there's and the amount of people that just fall into the lies. One of the big ones that really took me away from the left was CNN had made a statement in which they said that Trump was lying when he said that he saw bodies jumping from the towers during 9/11. They said that that never happened, that no one ever jumped. Why this matters is because for those who don't know, for those who weren't on this part of the country when that happened, the majority of our regular television, if you didn't have cable or Dish Network or anything like that, if you just had regular air TV, all your channels were coming out of the World Trade Center. The only channels that weren't were PBS and I think CBS. So everything else was knocked out. So we didn't really have any television. CNN, however, them being on cable and satellite and all that, direct TV, they had the news, and they were showing scenes, clippets, and of those scenes were pictures and images of people who were jumping from the towers. Many of these were expressed before in other videos by other people, but to me it was like, so you guys originally showed us the pictures of this happening, but when Trump says that he's seen it, y'all gonna say it didn't happen. If a company like CNN would make such a lie like that boldly to your faces, what else could they lie about? Um, I'm not necessarily pro Trump. I'm not one how the left paints us to be, that we see Trump as some kind of savior, some kind of messiah. No, we don't. We just see the realness that he is in comparison to the fakeness that the media portrays. And the sad part is how many people are leaning into that fakeness, and through that they're being manipulated into becoming anti-patriotic. Patriotism is very, very important. Love for this country is very, very important, whether you were born here or you emigrated here. Understand that the people who made this country what it is a reason why you're allowed to say the things that you say. The reason why you're allowed to just come across the water, land here, and then your kids, your lives, you get to benefit. You get to live. You get to enjoy. There's no religious persecution. There's just freedom of speech. You get to stand your ground and protect yourselves. It's in our rights to do so. if you're coming to America and you don't respect what made America what it is, then you don't respect America. You shouldn't be here. Go back to where you came from. And I don't mean this to be disrespectful or be mean or whatever, but patriotism is very important. Respect for this country is very important. If American morals of American Constitution, if America as itself, as what it is built to be, falls, everyone who lives here, who benefits from it, you're not going to be in the world that you came to. You came to this country to enjoy what is America, but the moment America falls, everything that you enjoyed is going to be stripped away from you. All your rights, your freedoms, your speech. And what I find is how often people who, not just media left, but the people who follow them fall into that line. And I'm not just talking about if you come across like the Steven Crowder shows or the Charlie Kirk debates where they get surrounded by these mobs of people who are disagreeing with them. I mean, just dealing with everyday people who are on the left. Now, I currently live with someone who is left leaning, you could say democratic, but they are far left leaning. I'm my roommate, I'm their roommate, whatever you want to call it, and they will sit and they will laugh. I'm not trying to record. I'm not gonna put their face on it to expose them for the rest of the world to see, but they laughed that the people of Hawaii are losing their properties. That one town was burnt to the ground, whereas Oprah still has a house. See, they think that's just grand. That's how the universe works. Get rid of them, so this way rich people can move in. That's their attitude. They like the idea of you not being able to say things against their political candidate. They want to be able to jail people for speaking up against Kamala, speaking up against Biden. These are the people. I'm living with this. I'm literally living with this. They want to jail people who speak up against it. I get into debates and arguments with them all the time, and they laugh at the idea that what they're suggesting is evil, is immoral. And I don't mean in evil in a sense of some religious or spiritual backing. I'm not trying to be disrespectful towards people who follow any religions, but I don't need a religion or a faith to know what's right and wrong, to know that doing harm to others is a bad thing. We know right from wrong. I think at some point it's inherently human to know that you wouldn't enjoy it if someone killed your family members. Probably shouldn't kill someone else's family member, right? You wouldn't like it if one of your family members was SA'd, so don't go around SAing people, right and wrong. So when I hear someone laughing about it, mocking it, it's it triggers me in a different way. It doesn't trigger me in the sense that I want to get up and start beating people up and fighting, but it does trigger me to the point where I make videos like this where I speak out against it. I literally just had this conversation with this person about the whole thing that's happening in Hawaii, about the houses being burnt to the ground, and they were hysterical about it. They thought it was hilarious. You know, I and I don't know how to make a person like that understand how they look to other people. I don't know how to make people understand, like, when you're constantly lying to my face, when you're constantly trying to gaslight me, and I know you're lying to me, what it does to your credibility going forward. And I wish others could see it the same way. I wish the people who are on the left could see it the same way, that you're being lied to. One big lie is another big lie is another big lie, and that's credibility. If you're giving someone credibility and they're lying to you, notice that lie, call it out, and then call out everyone that follows afterwards. I don't see why people don't do this. Um, I do plan, part of my addiction. I do have a little nicotine addiction. I do plan on discussing other things, narrowing down, pinpointing, I guess, areas that I want to address. Some of them political, some of them religious, and there's certain art worlds that I think need to be brought up and spoken upon. There's things that um, I don't think people realize is happening right underneath their noses, from your everyday person to your parents, people who have kids. There's things that your kids are being exposed to. I don't think you realize they're being exposed to. And it just so happens that me being a person who I place myself in the art world in varying degrees, and through different art communities, I came across how would you say, certain environments of people, certain behaviors, cultures of people that your children are exposed to. I have more or less an insight to what's going on today. And I'm not trying to say I know it all, but I do have a voice and I do have a message. And to those who are listening, please, please keep your eyes open, keep your heads up, pay attention, pay attention, keep your kids close, love them. Um, it, I will eventually figure out how to make a more professional and straightforward video, discussing things properly. I will eventually figure out how to get things off my chest, off my mind in a more fluid manner. I'm not used to being on camera and speaking to a camera, just speaking out and I don't know, not hearing a response. I feel almost like I'm speaking to myself. So this is gonna take some getting used to, but I will figure it out. But one of my major my biggest interest is politics. It's America. I love this country. I truly, truly love this country. If my greatest fear, if I was had a fear of anything, is the fall of this country. If world history has taught me one thing, it's that every great empire falls. The Persian Empire fell, the Roman Empire fell. The greatest have fallen. America is a great country. It is a great, great land. We have flaws, no doubt, but this is a great land. And if I fear anything, it's being alive to witness its falling. My children to be alive and witness its fall. My grandchildren to be alive and witness its fall. I don't want that to happen. I like what we have here. I think we need to appreciate what we have here and strive to make it better, to make America great again. And that people think that the idea of making America great again is a bad thing shows you who is unpatriotic, shows you who does not love and value and show loyalty to this country. If you have a problem with making America great again, you are not American. Go to another country. It is what it is. Um, there's more to discuss. I'll probably chop them up into different videos, different segments, and we'll see how it goes. Until then.